Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Prashant Mahajan, founder of Jita.io, a platform for product teams to define, manage, and collaborate on their products in a simpler and smarter way. Prashant is a graduate of NIT Jalandhar and has worked for companies such as Paytm, Tokopedia, and Branch before starting his own venture. Hi Prashant, welcome to ELI.
Hi Priya, thanks for having me here. Glad to be part of this journey.
Prashant, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Sure, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Prashant. As Priya introduced that I'm founder of Federa.io. I have been working as a product manager for the last 6 years with various companies in India and outside India. Before deciding to build something for product managers, a problem which I faced as a product manager myself. So that gave life to Federa.io.
And now tell us what is Zeta.io, what is it all about?
Sure. So Veda.io essentially is a SaaS platform for product managers. We have seen SaaS platforms like GitHub for developers, Figma for designers, Salesforce for salespeople. But I thought that there is a need for product platform for product managers where they can define, manage, and collaborate at one place. A product manager is the central role in any product-based organization, and currently they have to juggle between multiple tools, and because they juggle between multiple tools, they are not able to find one go-to platform where they can do everything and collaborate with their stakeholders. So that's what led to Fedora.io, one place to define, manage, and collaborate on your products.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about what has been the story of Zeta.io, what kind of traction we have got so far, how many people are using it every day, and what impact are
Sure.
we making in their ventures.
Sure. So Fedora.io started in the lockdown itself. uh, It took a couple of months to research. So basically, I was doing a lot of webinars on product management. When people started asking me, Prashant, please share a good tool which you are using. And I never had a good tool. And I realized that I myself have been wasting a lot of time inefficiently managing my products. So went out, researched all the tools available in the market. Then we created a landing page. Feta.io got the cheapest available domain and shared it out to the audience, people in the community on WhatsApp, Slack, and we quickly had 200 people waiting for it. With that, we started getting on call with people to understand their pain point, what they are looking for, what are the challenges they face day to day, and with enough conviction, enough people who wanted this product. In November last year, we quit our jobs to start work on Feta.io full time. While we were building by ourselves, some people who have been in industry, who know how to build products and companies, they started to reach out and trusted us with our vision to make a great platform for product managers and a global SaaS business out of India. We got funded by some of the best people in the industry, people from founder of Freecharge to founder of Flipkart to founder of Junio, Aspiring Minds, Traction, Brightjam, people from product, engineering, marketing domain. So we raised somewhere around $600,000 overall in last 4 months. Uh, we started hiring. Now we have 8-member team, and in terms of traction, we have 700 people on the wait list. We have 3,000 followers on LinkedIn, and we have our newsletter and blog, which is getting traction. On average, we get 5 people on the wait list. We actually went live with our beta set of customers last week. We went live with 10 customers. And while we are working on improving the feature, fixing the bugs, we would slowly expand out to all our wait list and publicly launch somewhere in Q3 of 2021.
Speaking of your investors, I think you mentioned all big names in the Indian startup industry, like founder of Freecharge and others.
Flipkart.
Would like to understand how did you get hold of these high impact people?
It will be very surprising for you to know that I did not reach out to anyone. So, uh, Freecharge, Whiteboard Capital, they reached out to me on LinkedIn. Uh, View to One Capital of Binny Bansal, they reached out to me on LinkedIn. Uh, but I think initial set of people were my past colleagues, like Chief of Design of Paytm, VP of Engineering of Tokopedia, SVP of Branch, VP of Product of Paytm, people who have worked with me. So they gave me initial small check size, and once people start trusting you, other people also start trusting you. So I think it becomes a ripple effect that once people trusted me, other people got to know about me through network effect and through LinkedIn traction, and then we started raising funds.
You spoke about doing the research with different people when you were understanding the pain points of your prospective users. Can you tell us what are those pain points that you found about
Definitely.
your prospect users, and how did you go about for solving them?
Yes. So in our research, we actually included people who have been like associate level to director of product of Google to VP of product of other Fortune 500 companies. I think that is one advice also to viewers, that always keep in mind all sorts of customers, because some people tend to ask their friends and family, and they generally give a biased feedback because they are your friends and family. So you should also always look for people who are not your immediate circle and they are of different background. So we reached out to different people from India to Silicon Valley, juniors to VPs, startups to enterprise customers, and even we included other stakeholders like engineers, designers, marketers, sales, support in Icon. And everyone had a different pain point actually. Like they were related but a bit different. For example, but the major thing I'll say was fragmentation in product. So generally, right now, people have writing PID somewhere, making roadmap somewhere, collecting feedback somewhere, making wireframe somewhere, and there's no central place where they can see the entire product or share it or collaborate. So that was the major thing. Number one, fragmentation and decentralization in product management. They wanted everything at one place. Number two was stakeholder management. So as a product manager, you have to collaborate with your different stakeholders, other PMs, engineers, designers, marketers, and so on. And everyone uses a different tool. Now, when everyone uses a different tool, where do you collaborate? So why not have one tool which talks to these tools instead of you going to multiple tools? So to summarize, number one was fragmentation. Number two was uh, collaboration was the major pain point. In order to solve them, that's what we decided to do. First thing was build modules ourselves, build basic modules which are needed for product definition and development. With that, like writing a PID, making a wireframe, doing the feedback, doing customer research, all modules we built in house. And then with the company stack, we are building integrations. That means Slack integration, Jira integration, Figma integration, Google Suite integration, Salesforce, Freshdesk, and so on, so that you are able to have a two-way integration with all the stakeholders.
Once the integrations were built and features were built, and once the product was ready, what was the next step? How did you find the first set of customers?
Sure. So currently we are actually building integrations. I'll not say everything is complete. We are still in MVP phase, but we were lucky enough that we were able to get people excited through community. Most people, they reach out to paid marketing and so on. We have never done a paid marketing. We actually reached out to community. I'm part of a lot of WhatsApp channels, Slack channels, uh, LinkedIn group, Facebook groups. So we have reached out there, and product managers are people who like to try out new things, give feedback. So we have reached out there. The other part is content. So in any B2B company or SaaS company, I think content plays a major role, which means that people are able to uh, search on LinkedIn and they find our content. We have blog published every week, which gets 3,000, views. We have newsletter which is sent out to 700 people. We have uh, organic blogs being published on various channels. So I think these have helped us a lot to gain initial feedback of customers. And yeah, and also my past colleagues, they have been like very helpful to give me feedback. People from Branch, people from Tokopedia, Paytm, and people whom I have connected during my journey as a product manager, they have helped me out.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced while building this venture?
So I think building a product and building a company is very different. So I knew how to build a product, but then building a company, you have to hire people. I think hiring is one thing people generally don't realize how tough it is, because there are recruiters and HR people in the companies to help you out with that. But when you have to do their job, you realize that is a very tough thing. Similarly, creating content. We have content creators, but when you have to write a blog by yourself, it should attract people. It's really tough to have a SEO optimized blog written. So I think this has been a new learning as well as challenge for me, where I have learned things beyond the product management, like hiring, marketing, content creation, even pricing the product and how do you sell something. So beyond product design engineering, everything was a challenge to learn, because they were new things for me. So that is something I believe viewers will also appreciate when they are starting out their journey as a entrepreneur. That these are things which you have to do by yourself, which you will learn when you do it. That they are tough. So it's important to talk to your friends in this domain. I think this has helped me a lot. Talking to recruiters, talking to marketers, talking to salespeople, CSM people who have been doing, and now I respect their job a lot more.
Well, now that you have arranged the initial pieces of the puzzle together and you have got some traction, you have got good investors on board, and the product is almost ready. What is the vision? What is the way forward for next 5 to 10 years?
Sure. So the short-term goal is definitely to go global. When I say global, building a company out of India, which is used by everyone across the world. There are very few companies who have done it successfully, and Freshdesk, ChargeBee. There are a couple of companies who have done it. We would like to follow their model and make Fera.io a global product, which is used by everyone who is building a product. The second part is to leverage the power of data. So as I mentioned, currently there's no tool which has all the data at one place and all the integrations at one place. We would like to, in medium term, use this power of data to automate and optimize product management. That means that using NLP, machine learning, we could give suggestions, we could make optimization, we can automate certain processes in product development. Lastly, the another long-term goal is to make product management open source. When I say open source, currently development has been open sourced, design has been open sourced. People are able to share their product design, their code. But if you search, you never find product definition open source. People still don't have a place to give feedback, collect feedback, and it is happening on WhatsApp channels or small groups. So truly making product management open sourced and making it more like a marketplace, that will be the goal.
Did you pivot your model throughout this journey? If so, can you give us examples?
Uh, we haven't pivoted yet because we just launched MVP and we do keep ourselves open to pivot if needed. But yes, we have pushed certain things to the roadmap because once you're building a product, you realize that you cannot do everything at once. We thought that, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll have this functions and everything. But now when you start building, you have limited resources. You have limited designers, developers who are building it out. So then you need to keep that in mind that hey, it will take. You need to push certain things. You need to prioritize certain things. So that's why we have not pivoted, but we have definitely pushed certain things down the roadmap.
Now, we will talk about your personal journey as an entrepreneur. Can you tell us when did you think of becoming an entrepreneur? When this idea came to you that no, I don't want to do 9 to 5 job anymore. I want to become an entrepreneur.
Uh, so I think a lot of people want to become entrepreneur, uh, but for me it was more about solving the problem. Uh, when I say solving the problem, we wanted to make sure that this problem is not a made-up problem. This problem is actually existing. So I had a job with SoftBank Group Japan. I actually had my flight tickets and visa to move there, but I said no on the last day because we had enough people in the wait list. We had product being built. We had website up. So I think the point was on Diwali last year when I had my flight tickets and visa, and I had to pack my bags. When I decided that hey, I think this is more important to build product to have a yourself doing something instead of you doing for someone else. Like I have worked with Paytm, launched Paytm QR code, got customers and revenue in my other company. But let's do something which we can be proudly saying, oh, I built it from scratch. So I think more or less it was once we had enough validation that we decided to become the entrepreneur instead of thinking that I want to become an entrepreneur.
Once you are on the path of entrepreneurship, it is a never ending journey and you have to be consistently energetic, and if you are not, then the business will suffer. Having said that, there would be some situations where you may feel tired, restless, or not able to focus. How do you manage such situations?
There are a lot of time when you are uh, demotivated or tired. Like, for example, for us, we are working from my home. So I live on the first floor and the ground floor is office. So I cannot take a leave. Like, it will not be a good idea that the founder is sleeping up and the people are working down. So you always have to be there, you irrespective of what you feel, what your health, wealth, mind, whatever it is, you have to be present for the team for the company. Um, Similar situation when there was I was at my hometown, my brother was hospitalized, but I had investor calls, I had company registration calls, I had interns working for us, interviews lined up, everything was happening. But you still have to take out the time to do it because that's your work now. You can't keep an excuse. But that being said, I believe it is very important to take time for yourself. focus on your health, maybe go out for a run, do some workout, focus on your mental well-being. uh, I do meditation. If I'm feeling tired or restless, I go out for a long walk, keeping my phone at home, so that you can just take out your thoughts. So I'll suggest fellow entrepreneurs to definitely focus on your health, focus on working out, and that helps to release the stress. Focus on doing meditation and whatever works for you. For me, going for a walk or a good food works. Some people talking to friends works. For some people, listening to music works. So whatever works for you. But if you are, as Priya mentioned, if you are not on your full game, then the business will suffer, and you don't want business to suffer. So I'll suggest to please take time for yourself and focus on yourself.
Prashant, have you ever witnessed a failure as an entrepreneur? Where have you failed?
Um, as an entrepreneur, I think failure is yet to will be there. I'm not saying that there won't be failures yet to come, but so far the journey have been helpful. People have been helpful. The one failure which we had was we were looking to hire a designer. Uh, we were looking to, and we interviewed, we finalized the designer, and the person did not join. And that I felt as a personal failure because uh, when you spend time, you are looking forward for the person to join. Uh, if someone chooses some other company over you, you just feel bad. So I think that has been one failure which I have felt, because and we are making sure that we provide enough reason for people to join us instead of uh, someone besides us. So that is one thing I have felt.
What is the meaning of entrepreneurship to you? How do you define the term entrepreneurship?
I'll say enough craziness and passion to solve a problem. So that problem should generate value to your customers and your stakeholders, investors, your team. Basically, it could be revenue, it could be fulfillness, the feeling of building something important. Uh, so there should be value created for your uh, company. That includes your investors, your employees, yourself, and value created for the people who are going to use it. So that is, I think, entrepreneurship creating value overall in the ecosystem.
And this is my final question. Tell us what are the interesting lessons you have learned as an entrepreneur, which we can take away and apply it in our ventures.
Sure. I think number one would be validate the problem. If as much as you can, most people get an idea and they talk to their immediate families and start it up. I'll say that talk to people, and now it is very easy to build an MVP. There are small uh, companies which help you build MVP. There are no code platform to build your MVP. Build out your MVP and validate your idea, and then quit. That is number one learning. Number two, uh, if you have validated your problem hypothesis very well, you should not worry about the investment, because then investors will come eventually if you have a good product. So this is one lesson I have seen. It doesn't matter. People think that IIT brand or this thing help or that thing help. I'll say I don't have IIT brand. I don't have MBA. I don't have anything, but you should have a good product. If you have a good product, that will bring. Number three is traction. A lot of people believe building a good product itself is enough. But I'll say that is just not true. We have seen a lot of products, good products fail because they did not have enough traction. So, along with building a product, start make getting traction or marketing or some buzz for your product also. A lot of people ignore that. Uh, and lastly, it's a when you are building doing entrepreneurship or starting out, you are not building a product, you are building a company. This is something which I learned from my investors recently, that the goal is to have a set of team of people who align with your vision, who understand your vision, and they are working with you to realize that vision. So instead of focusing on building a product or cool product or anything, your goal as a founder entrepreneur should also be to build a good team and a company culture which can take you forward.
Awesome. On this note, I think I would like to close this session, and it was a great learning session for me as well, and for all of our audience. Thanks for your time, Prashant, and our
Thank
best
you,
wishes
Priya.
for Zeta.io.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.